Hey everyone, it's Coeval here. Got another game for you, 60 Grassy between myself and Stir Power DX. It's quite a great game. I won't spoil it for you. Just know that DX is running the minion book. That's what the reason I know that he's running it is because of the dragon and the lord and the dryad. That signals to you that he's running that book. And the way it works is you pretty much just bring every minion in the spell selection screen. And then you have, I think, 4 spells that you can choose that you can bring in addition to it. I don't know, I don't use it too much, so yeah, if someone can confirm in the comments how exactly it works. But yeah, you have every minion in the game, so interesting book to verse, we'll see how it goes. He's fortunate to get turn 1 here. Common turn 1 opening is to summon like a swarm or monarchs, also sylph sometimes. You know, you have a lot of options. So he ultimately goes with the monarchs, and I want to kill those as soon as I can. If I had mud, I might go with mud here, but I don't. So I decide to shock shield them, and he does a little cheeky play here with the flutters. Gonna flutter me once, flutter me twice, and trap me. Yeah, at this point, like, if he gets top control, it's gonna be difficult for me to win, because he has dragons, he has Waterlord, he has Dark Knight, he has all these huge minions that exert a lot of pressure. So he traps me with the monarchs. I decide to pull out a swarm, just kind of go blow for blow here, keep his minion count down. One theme to kind of think about is you're playing the minion book, if you ever encounter it, or if you're or playing against it, or if you're playing it, is that you only have 4 slots and you have every minion in the entire game. So if you want to be successful, you have to choose those 4 very carefully, based on the situation, just the game state. Is it better to pull out an owl, water trolls, and a Dark Knight, or do you need like flying minions like Pegasus or other minions of that sort? So throughout this whole game, he's kind of thinking, not at this point, but as the game goes on, he's thinking about, okay, how am I going to use my 4 minion slots effectively? Here he makes a decision to pull out a Cosmic Horror, a pretty threatening minion. I don't really have much I can do here, so I decide to tower. I don't want to get hit by that Dark Matter Bomb, which does like 80, and then spawns another bomb that does even more damage. So he spawns that, and I'm thinking I'm fine here. He doesn't have much he can do. He just has to summon another minion. He goes with the bear. Bear, an interesting note about that is that it's heavy, so you can't flash it. It has a bite spell, a leap spell I think, where it jumps to a player and does damage. And also, if it's damaged, the more that it's damaged, the more damage it will do. So that's a passive called Provoke, I believe. So the bite can do up to like 90 or something crazy if the bear's at like 1 health. Close to that, I'm just estimating, but yeah, I don't want to damage it very much, because then, the bite will do a lot more damage, the leap will do a lot more damage. Notice the way that he freed his swarm was he towered next to it. It's because he doesn't have flash or drain or any sort of meta spells like that, because he doesn't have room for them. Because yeah, one of the rules of the minion book is that minions take up a majority of your slots. You can't just bring every minion in the game and then 16 other spells. That would be busted. So it's kind of like a full book in that way. So I decide to shock shield with the spirit. He kills it, and yeah, at this point I'm still chilling. I don't really want to go back up to the top. If I ever have to go back up to the top, I'm going to be going to the side, and I actually do end up deciding to side hide, I believe, this turn. Because I don't want to stay up here with the horror and the swarm and the bear, which he could elevator a bunch of places if he was fast. So instead I decide to just hide. I want to bring my swarm with me, of course, because then if I don't, he's going to kill it. Excuse me. And I think I choose to tree here, just because, like, if I don't tree, he could do some weird elevatoring. Like, he could bring this horror over, and then, like, maybe elevator the bear up somehow. Put the bear on the cosmic horror, and then bring the cosmic horror down and just, you know, bite me and deflight me. I don't know, just to be extra safe, I decide to tree, and I can always shield later, right? So he decides to bring Owl out. At this point I was thinking, oh, he wants to bring the horror above this tree here, put the owl like right there, transport the horror to the owl spot, and then maybe hit me with something, so I'm a little nervous about that. So I decide to put a Pegasus right there to block it. And at this point I realize he's at 4 out of 4, so that's a great small detail to know, because now he can't summon additional minions. He makes a fantastic play here. He owls the bear and then extends a bite, and it sinks me, which is really unfortunate. I choose to stay on the side though. The bear's still trapped, so that's good. And I don't want to kill it, but I don't mind shipping it here. I don't really have any other use for the swarm at this point. In case it gets out in the future, I decide to just Ice Shield. I know I can escape with the Pegasus at any point too. And just get the Storm Shield up. Might be useful in the future to kill the Swarm, or, you know, hit one of his minions. Here I'm suspecting a Water Ball very soon. He puts the Cosmic Horror there just to prevent the flash. And yeah, that Water Ball does quite a bit of damage. I decide to tree here just because I don't want him to Water Ball again. It might not be a bad play to just spam Water Ball, which is maybe what he was thinking about right here. Oh, just move the Lord and then just Water Ball again. But looks like he decided against it. So he can just, you know, chip away at the tree with the Swarm. Instead he decides to just use the Dark Matter Bomb. Doesn't quite kill the bear, which is good for me. I've got another turn I can use to stall. I decide to just Flight and Protection Shield here. I'm pretty squeezed, I don't have a lot of space, but, you know, he can't get to me yet, so I don't have too much to worry about at this moment. The second bomb from the Dark Matter Bomb kills the bear, so yeah, ends up being a pretty good play by him. He swarms my Pegasus, and at this point I'm a little nervous because he's got great top control, but I do know that I can go to the left side at any moment too. He summons another owl, and I'm thinking, okay, again he's going to owl the Cosmic Horror and then, you know, damage me for quite a bit. I don't know if I have any way of really preventing that. So I kind of do my best to do so, and I forget exactly what I do here. If I have like a Spirit out or something. Oh, another Pegasus, okay. So not a bad play. But yeah, we'll see what he can do with the owl, if he decides to use it immediately or not. It's a bit threatening because he's got another Dark Matter Bomb, right? And that's a lot of health, that's 80 if it does max damage. And he does end up going for that, so I'm like, okay, this is gonna hurt quite a bit. But he actually gets a really unlucky bounce and only hits for 27. And so thankfully I'm doing okay. I do notice that there's a second bomb there. That's how Dark Matter Bomb works. It's like a 2-turn bomb, so I want to be careful of that. So I decide to I think just kill the horror here, because I just don't want it to like gravity pulse me into the water. Because if he pulses me and I'm on the side, it'll pull me actually into the water. So say that he got the horror on my right side and then pulsed me. If I was like here, it would pull me into the water instead of push me away toward the terrain. So I decide to kill it. The bomb disappears, and he makes another great play. I was too close to the wall and he dryads, so I lose my shields. And at this point I'm a bit nervous. I'm like, oh man, I keep walking right into his plays. And it's just making the game really easy for him. So I don't really have much to do here. I have my flight's on cooldown, my protection shield's on cooldown. And so I just tower, just in case he summons another minion and I want to be, protected, have a little bit of a buffer. And he does end up summoning another minion, but I don't know. It was at this point that I start to realize those 2 minions are trapped down there. Like, how does he get the golem out to the top? And what is he going to do about the dryad? So like at any point I could teleport to the left side, and then he can only really summon 2 minions. So he's putting himself at like a pretty severe disadvantage by summoning the golem there. It's going to end up being essentially a dead slot. If I can manage to, prevent it from mega bouldering me, or, using other high damage abilities, which is what I'm going to try to do. And in fact, I just go immediately for the teleport. I just trap the dryad with the ice shield and teleport away. So he wants to bring the Lord over here. At this point, like I said, what's he going to do about the golem? It's doing nothing. Yeah, so are my minions, but like I don't have a minion book, I have a bunch of other spells. So since my book's not only minions, it's not a huge deal that 3 of my 4 are trapped. I'm just trying to stall kind of at this point, to be honest. Kind of funny, like the Lord made such a huge indent in the map from just hitting the side there. He decides to Mega Boulder Suicide, probably because while he's at 4 out of 4 he doesn't have anything else to really do that would be effective. And he wants to kill the golem. So I decide to fly over there, and well, you'll see what I decide to do. This classic flight trap with the Dark Knight, and he doesn't have many tools that he can use to deal with it. So yeah, because he summoned that minion down there on the side, now he's got 2 minions trapped down there. Not really a way to free them. Of course he has totem, but if you're at 4 out of 4 you can't summon a totem. And I don't even know if he actually has gate in this book. But I suspected that he would gate out. He moves his swarm to kind of block, and apparently he doesn't. That does 21 damage, which is not a huge deal. And at this point I'm like, okay, well I can just charge straight down, do as much damage as possible. It is possible to do 250, but rare. So I decide to just absorb the swarm, so I don't actually charge myself. Accidentally, I mean, charge myself. And he goes all the way down to 36, so that was a pretty strong charge that I just did there. And at this point I know that he's going to mount his Lord. That's going to be the only way that he can kind of stay in the game. And I'm wondering if I can get my Dark Knight out. Like, is it possible to you know, escape somehow. But at this point I was like, oh, let me just, you know, go over there and charge through, kill one of his minions. Before that though, I thought, oh, this looks flashable. I could actually flash him first. So that's a nice play. You notice he's getting kind of low, but the health is kind of irrelevant because he's on a 400 health lord. So, you know, what can you do? It's going to take a lot of turns to kind of chip away at that. So at this point, I was thinking about maybe trying to elevator. Doesn't quite work. I bring myself over to try and help, and then it gets trapped. And I'm at like 10 seconds here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, right? And so I was like kind of panicking. The elevator failed. Maybe a bit too hasty there. But I do decide to trap it with the Pegasus. And then I know that like I could potentially go down there and mount my Dark Knight onto the Pegasus and then kill his lord, or maybe even kill him if I get lucky. So he's got 4 out of 4 again, so I'm not sure what his plan is, how he's going to make any progress at this point. He decides to chomp with the Dryad, which is fine. At this point I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can actually get the Dark Knight up and make a great play here. Before I do that though, I want to block one of the entrances off with the swarm entrances off, and I go over there and do that, and then I want to grab my Dark Knight and see if it's possible. The Pegasus kind of barely fits, so it's looking pretty good for me. I can get this charge off, and I was thinking, oh, maybe this even kills, that'd be cool. So I do get the charge off. It actually kills the Lord and just leaves him with the same amount of health that he had when he was mounted. And, you know, at this point, I'm thinking that I'm in a pretty great position. He has to run away from the Dark Knight and pretty much tower, I think, is his only play. So he decides to run over on his side with the minions, which is a smart play, because I'm discouraged to go over there, since he has, you know, a golem with Scatter Rock, Mega Boulder, and a Dryad that can remove shields. And he can block it off, and he does use the floating castle. Unfortunately for him, he goes straight into the swarm, which is, yeah, just unfortunate. Now at this point, it's important to not rush. Some people would, you know, fly up to this area here and, you know, pebble down and be like, oh, hopefully that kills, and then it doesn't and they lose the game. So I was trying to just be extra patient here, and as I said earlier, I wanted to at some point charge through and try to kill his Dryad. Doesn't quite kill, unfortunately, but still, he's only at 83 health, and so a pebble would kill him, or I think get him down to like 2 or 3 HP. So I'm in a pretty good spot here. He decides to pull out the dragon, and at this point I'm like, you know what, I still can't rush. I still am not confident into just like flighting and pebbling him. I almost fall there. That would have sucked. But yeah, I still want to play slow. I decide to just kill 2 of his minions with the swarm. And he kills my Dark Knight, which is a smart play. It's my strongest minion. And at this point I'm thinking, oh, is there some way I could get up there and pebble him? Maybe sink him? I do have a blast from the past. And one thing that I do though, which is unfortunate, is I move this swarm over. I wanted to like put it on top of the giant, but I didn't have enough time. And then it actually prevents him from being sunk, which I think the game's over at that point because he doesn't have gate. So the swarm actually catches him on 3 health, and I'm still, we're still in the game, or he's still in the game. So that was kind of unfortunate. yeah, I just wanted to bring it over above the dragon, but I didn't have enough time. I was thinking too much. So he chomps me off, which is a great play, and I'm at 89 health on the top here. Yeah, he's at 3, but he's mounted on a dragon, so I can't kill him immediately. It's still going to take some work. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. So he towers. Again, you could say, oh, just jump on that tree right there, that branch, pebble down, and he'll die. Yeah, or he won't, and then I'll die. So I'm just being cautious, you know, I want to get that 2k. Yeah, if I didn't mention, this is my 2k game, so if I lose, I need to keep, you know, working toward that rating. If I win, then I have 2k finally. So yeah, a little bit at stake here. My goal here was to tower and then just pebble down, or flash down if I wasn't able to pebble down. And so that's what I do. I position the swarm there just because I know that he can't like drain it or anything, and it's just going to chip away at his tower. He ends up having Deluge, which I didn't expect at all, but kind of an interesting addition. So I'm at 35 health. I'm looking pretty... It's looking pretty dire for me, and I have pretty much one option here, otherwise I lose, and that option is to try to pebble him off. You want to aim it like slightly under the player, like at his feet, because the thing is, you're gonna pebble, and then when he detowers, he will drop slightly from the tower, and so you still want to make contact with the player once he's detowered, so that the player can be launched to the right into the water. So I aim it probably like right about here, where the cursor is, and we'll see how that works out if I'm able to do it. So barely, you noticed how he dropped and then the pebbles were making contact with the top of the player. Still worked out, but you know, barely was able to sink him. So I'm hanging by a thread, literally. And I decide to just swarm tick the dragon, and I was trying to escape here because I'm a little bit worried about staying alive. And it's a bit tricky to get this elevator. There's a pixel blocking me there, and a couple more pixels blocking me up here. So I decide abort mission, and I just have to drain. At this point I realized, oh no, he can just potentially kill me with the dragon breath. And he goes for it, and he actually misses, and then he then he puts up the draw. So I got kind of lucky there. I don't know if that kills. It's possible it does. But yeah, just to ensure the victory, the dragon's at 9, he's at 17. I Ice Shield and SB stuff for the victory. And that's it, guys. Pretty amazing game, back and forth. Was my 2K game. Never had 2000 rating before in Arc 2. So pretty cool to be able to get 2K in this fashion against a great player. Yeah, quite an entertaining game. Hope you guys enjoyed learning a thing or two about the minion book and how to kind of play against it. The main thing, again, just remember that like he can only bring out 4 minions, and so if you trap the minions, then he's going to be like hampered in the way that he can make progress, because a lot of the times the best move for someone who has the minion book is just to summon a minion, and if they're at 4 out of 4, they have too many minions trapped, then they can't do a lot. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. That was the 2K game against Stir Power DX, and I will see you all later. Peace out.